Check, check. Check, 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 check. Can you hear me now?
No.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Can you hear me now? Come on. Ah, yeah, okay. There we go. Oh. All right. Well, happy Easter, happy spring, happy everything.
We lost you again, Dee.
It's not on? My light is on.
There you go.
It's a fussy little thing sometimes. It just wants to have a little love and hug there. Okay. Well, welcome to part 7 of our Rainbow series in the 2021 edition. Our theme this year is Grace and Grit. Now, grace is the givingness of spirit. It is absolutely anything you could possibly need. It's available to you right here and right now. Right? It is this infinite well of just any kind of goodness that you need. Grit is also a grace. Grit is the grace of fortitude. We've got a little visitor in here today. A little springtime visitor, a bee. All right, well, we're just not going to swat at it or anything, right? We don't want to agitate it, so we'll just let it float around up there. But grit is a form of, it's a grace, it is fortitude. It is grit that gives us the endurance and commitment, the persistence we need to move through whatever it is that we happen to need to move through. That changes for many of us on a daily basis. So I just like to think about, we're calling forth the divine, we're calling it forth through us, for us, as us, into every area of our life, and what better playground to do it than right here on this planet, right here and right now. We are traveling through the 7 chakras. They are the mystical system of the East. And so today we are in the crown chakra. But we went through, the chakras are all stages of development for us that start when we are born. We've got the root chakra, the tribal chakra, which is where we get our sense of belonging and connection. The sacral chakra is where we form our connection to others. We go into relationship with others. Our 3rd chakra, the solar plexus, this is where we start trusting the gifts that we came to this planet with, and we trust to share them. Our heart chakra gives us fortitude to bring all of this into our life. Now, this is the chakra that mediates between the physical chakras and the spiritually minded chakras. So with fortitude, we're calling in all the gifts of every chakra through us and out into our life. Our throat chakra here is where we learn to surrender our personal will to divine will. Here, it's about choices. We're making choices. We go to the 3rd eye, and this is where we release beliefs that no longer serve us, because our brilliant imagination and mind, it goes to work all the time, and it looks to see what's working in our life and what isn't. And so it is through this chakra that we decide, okay, this doesn't work so good, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. So today, the 7th chakra, which is represented by the color violet, you see a lot of us are here today in violet and purple. It's our crown, and it is our connection to our spiritual nature. This is where inspiration and good ideas come through and go into our imagination. It is through this chakra that we have the capacity to live our life in tune with our divine nature. So we become a divine and a physical being all at the same time. This is where we live from faith instead of fear. Now, the shadow of this chakra, I just don't much like the name of it, and I know our prayer chaplain Deanna and I had a good conversation about this last year. The shadow of this chakra is sloth. However, sloths are adorable little creatures, and actually, they do embody, like, the light. If you look at indigenous medicine and sloth as a totem animal, all of their positive qualities have to do with, like, our chakra system in general. They have persistence to be patient, like persistence to be slow and take in the world. But we're not really talking about sloths today. This shadow, we could more call it postponing our good. It is postponing our good. We know the good that we want to bring into our life. We just don't always feel like we're up to it. Like I know for myself, when I first wanted to have more awareness of God, I remember coming here in 2000 getting into the Course in Miracles group. And I was like, oh, I just love reading about all these principles on Saturday, coming here on Sunday. But on Monday, I don't want to do the work. I just want to live my life. So this is what can happen. When we are in the shadow of postponing our good, we may spend more time imagining the great life that we want to have and create for ourselves, but we're not doing the work to bring that life into our experience. It's safe and easy to just imagine our new life in our imagination. It's safe and easy to imagine it in there because we don't have to deal with any of the consequences that making those changes might bring into our life. If you thought about joining the Peace Corps, that would flip your life around. That would flip your life around. So it might be easier for a while just to imagine what it would be like to be in the Peace Corps, travel around the world, helping people. But when it comes down to it, it is a lot of work to actually make that your life, to change your life around to fit that. Now our dreams, some of the things we want to create in our lives, they can be so big that they would flip our lives around. Somebody who quits their job that is just draining their soul to do something else more creative. That is a huge kind of change. And it's easier to think about it, right? Or somebody who needs to move, or somebody who thinks that maybe they have to get a divorce, right? It's easier to just think about it because you don't have to deal with the consequences of it yet, right? There's where we have to get our fortitude. Albert Einstein said imagination is our preview of life's coming attractions. And that's all it is. It's our preview. It's our preview of what's possible. It inspires us and it guides us, but when we're just in our imagination all the time, our imagination doesn't change all the stuff out here in our life. If you want to fix a nice fancy dinner for your family, it's not enough to imagine it. Like, it's easy to just imagine a beautiful dinner, but then you got to look in the cabinets, and maybe you have to go to the store, and maybe you have to go to a couple of stores, depending on what you pick out to prep. But things take work. The experiences we want to create take work. But we're created to be creators. We are created to participate with our life. The shadow of this crown, postponing our good. Okay, now this one I'm going to say next. It's major league. This is major league stuff. It is, look at it as the shadow of tossing away your life. If you're not listening in on your sacred assignment, what are you actually throwing away? What is that version of your life that you've just thrown away because you're not listening to the inspiration of the divine, or what heaven is telling you, whatever you want to call it, your intuition? Sometimes we look at this big thing we want to create in our life, and it can be scary. Like somebody thinking about joining the Peace Corps. This is a big, scary thing. It is scary, but we are divinely designed. If we're inspired to do something, we'll be given the instructions, one step at a time, on how to make that happen. But it's listening and saying yes to it, rather than saying no and putting off our good. Sometimes the putting off our good might look like, well, yeah, I would love to start my new healing arts practice, and that would be great because I'm a great healer. But I think I need a little more money first. Oh, and I want to have a storefront that's right on the beach. It has to be on the beach because I'm that special of a healer. I'm so good. I want people to just come to the beach. But you know what else? I need more training first. I got to go back to school and just get a whole bunch more training. If we're inspired to do something, we're already ready to do it. It's already there. Remember, God doesn't call the qualified. God qualifies the called. So if we're inspired to do something, that means it's something we can start doing right here and now. Now, sure, we may need more schooling, and we may need to eventually open up an office space. But if we received an inspiration right here and right now, it means we are capable of starting that sacred assignment that we have been given. And if we come up with some excuse, my knees hurt, I don't have enough education, well, I need a little more money in the bank first. If we come up with some excuse, what we're doing is we are saying no to those divine forces that work through us that would make everything happen through us anyway. Yeah, that can happen. When we deny those forces that are telling us to move forward now, when we deny those forces, we are also putting off our well-being. We're putting off our health. We're putting off our emotional well-being. Spirit, when Spirit is speaking through us, the time is always now. The time is always go. Like right this minute, any inspiration that you receive, the time is now to call that forth. Not when there's a full moon, or the weather's nicer, or the weather's crappy. Maybe the weather's so nice right now, I can't start a new project, I just gotta go outside and have some fun. The time is now, the time is go. What happens if you are in a crisis? What happens if you're experiencing illness? And that intuition tells you, I'm serious about the meditation thing, just 3 minutes a day, just try it. I'm serious about getting up early and going for a walk. I'm serious about getting some sunshine on your head. I'm serious about you reaching out and finding somebody to talk to. Walk a dog, get a puppy, right? Okay, it's telling you to do an instruction right now. These are living instructions, because if we are in a crisis, or if we are in a healing crisis or an emotional crisis, that guidance is coming through for us right here and now to do something about that we are going through right here and now. It can be tempting to put off our good. Like I don't even know how many years ago, I knew that it would be in my best interest to go off sugar. But I always had a really, really good excuse to not do it. Not on Friday. I can't quit sugar on Friday because there's going to be all this sugar on Saturday and Sunday. I'll start on Monday. Well, Monday I didn't sleep very well, and so I need some sugar to get me going. Tuesday I can't start because, oh, my coffee creamer, it has sugar in it, and I already drank some. I'll start on Wednesday. Well, now it's Friday. Well, it's the weekend. I'll just start on Monday. We can come up with really good excuses to postpone our good. We can come up with excuses that are so good, all our friends will agree with us too. They will. They will. You're right, you shouldn't give up sugar till after the holidays. Like, who would go off sugar right before Easter, right? Changing our life takes a lot of effort. It does take effort, and it requires our participation. Changing our life requires our participation, and we participate with changing our life by listening and acting on the guidance that we are given. Now, if we are in the shadow of postponing our good, okay, this is the 7th chakra shadow. If we're in this shadow, we're in every shadow, all the way up the chakra system. We're in every shadow. So that can start with our root chakra. Well, I'm just not enough. I had a rough, childhood, and I'm just not enough. I know I'm not good enough. So we go into the 2nd chakra. Well, because I'm not good enough, I need to keep collecting stuff from out there to make me seem better, but I never seem to feel good about myself with all my stuff, so I just have to keep getting more stuff. The solar plexus. Well, because I'm not good enough and I can't seem to manage to make myself feel better about myself, I don't trust my gifts. I'm not going to share my gifts with the world. The 4th chakra, the heart chakra. Well, I just had so much suffering. I'm hanging on to stuff. I really resent what happened to me, and I just want to punish and make somebody else suffer the way that I had to suffer. Go into the throat chakra. Yeah, I know the right thing I should do, but it's hard. So I'm just going to do the easy thing for right now, no matter the consequences that someone else might have to pay because of my selfish, entitled choice. Go to the 3rd eye. Well, everybody else has it so easy. I've had a rough life. I've had such a rough life. Everybody else has it easy, and it's not fair that they have such an easy life. Why do they have all the good stuff? So here we are now, in the chakra of the crown chakra shadow. I'm not going to do anything now. I need to go through a healing process. I need to make more money. I need to move. We'll come up with a good excuse. What happens when we are in that space of our shadow? We are fighting mystical transformation. That's what we are here to be mystically transformed while we're in a body. Right, to bring it into our regular, everyday lives, living our life through the lens of God, like seeing our life how God sees our life. That's the mystical transformation we're seeking. And as we fight our own mystical transformation, we also fight the speed at which we could handle reality. Like if we're in all the graces and we're listening to divine guidance, we handle everything just like that. But if we're in the shadow anywhere, we're fighting against the speed at which we can handle stuff. And it slows way down. It slows way down. We can't make our choices very quickly. We overanalyze things. We stay stuck someplace while we do some research and gather data on it. We can't move forward. We don't trust that this will be the next right thing to do, so we stay stuck, thinking, well, maybe something else out there will change and then I'll be okay. That's what happens when we are in the shadow of postponing our good. We're not meant to be postponing our good. We're designed to call forth the good. We call forth the good through us, for us, as us. We are designed for this kind of expansion. And if we're postponing our good, we become like a stagnant pond where there's just like sludge. There's sludge. That is what happens to us. So the grace of this chakra is wisdom. And I love how it ended up coinciding with our Easter story today, because this is the type of transformation, although Jesus' transformation was a huge, big, powerful story, powerful example. None of us will have to struggle through anything like that. But it is the story of Christ, of Jesus transforming into the Christ, stepping into his divine truth, and then calling forth more good through him. Like really actually changing lives. But see, at every single turn, he faced more struggle, right? He was aware. He had enlightenment, but there was always one more thing to struggle over, one more thing to overcome. But so the Easter story is a divine blueprint for us. It is a divine blueprint for us also. So what happened was, teacher Jesus, he stepped into his sacred assignment. He accepted the divine truth that he was here to bring this message to humanity, that all of the things that he could do, they could do also. When he said, I and the Father are one, and then he said, and this is your Father too. Right? He just wanted people to understand there's an indwelling Christ within all of us. So he could have chosen an ordinary life, but he didn't. He said yes to his sacred assignment. I didn't know this until, well, this was like maybe 20, 25 years ago. We were watching some show like the History of the Bible or something, but it was talking about all of the other messiahs. There were many men who read the prophecies in the Old Testament and thought, well, yeah, I could fit that. I might fit that. And there were actually men who were recognized in their time as, this is our Redeemer. But one of the men, he was the Messiah, but he was captured by the Muslims, and he was going to be put to death unless he converted to their religion. And so he said, okay, and he just converted, just like that. And so the messiahs are considered, if you do some research on it, they're considered to be failed messiahs. But even Jesus was considered to be a failed messiah by anybody who's not Christian, right? But see, Jesus did not ever take the easy way out of anything. Like, never did he ever take the easy way out. This is how he lived as the great example for us, instead of the special guy who could do all these wonderful miracles, and we can never really aspire to that. So this is the Easter story. So we've got, Jesus started off with 40 days in the wilderness. This is where he had to battle his adversary, the little me, trying to talk him out of doing his sacred assignment. And this little me was full of excuses that made perfect sense. And so Jesus had to just decide, what were his limitation thinking? What were the limitation thoughts? What did he have to let go of? So he could accept his sacred assignment. Biblically, it is believed that 40 days is the time it takes to change limiting beliefs into empowering beliefs. But it's daily work. Like, we're always working on it. So Jesus did accept his sacred assignment. On Palm Sunday, he rode into Jerusalem. He accepted the title of the Christ, and he started working miracles. He was now living the truth. He celebrated Passover with his disciples. This is known as the Last Supper. And this is where he really had to face that struggle one more time, because now it was coming down to the wire. Now things were really shifting. You know, being out in the desert for 40 days, it's one thing to just contemplate an amazing, change that you could bring to this world. But then when you're really faced with it, then it becomes scary. So he did not want to do this. He prayed that this cup would be taken from him. But then he said, not my will, but thy will. But he didn't want to do it. This is why he was in the garden praying, hoping maybe God would change its mind. So then we come to the crucifixion. This is the painful letting go of a life that doesn't work anymore. Like, this is how Jesus truly, truly let go of the old self so he could move forward into the new life. None of us will ever have to face this kind of dire choice. But still, we face choices in our lives that will change our lives in massive, massive ways. If somebody decides they have to quit their job, or they have to divorce, or maybe they have to move, that can be a traumatic feeling almost. And it's easier to just imagine it first. When you actually have to do it, it doesn't do any good that you can tell yourself, well, a year from now, I'll be fine. 6 months from now, everything will kind of calm down. When we're in the middle of that kind of a life-changing choice, it's hard and it's scary. So that's what Jesus did. Then he rested in the tomb for 3 days. This was him resting in God, gathering his spiritual resources so he could prepare for the great demonstration that was to come on Easter when he rose. And so we can also experience that we rest in God also. We have to make a really hard decision. Then we rest in God. We gather our spiritual resources. And however that might look for you, maybe you spend some time alone praying. Maybe you decide to go camping out in the middle of nowhere. Maybe you just call in sick and sit in a hot tub, right? However that looks for you, where you can gather your resources, feel good about what you just did, even though it's scary. Then on Easter Sunday, he rose as a fully conscious being. Fully conscious being. I was thinking of how Jesus might have embodied the 7 graces. And this is just what I came up with. You might come up with something totally different. And if you decide you're going to do this, let me know. I would love to hear it. So we have the first and the second graces, reverence and piety, or devotion. This is to see God in all things and be devoted to being committed to seeing God in all things. And this is when Jesus said, I and the Father are one. He recognized that. The grace of understanding and the grace of fortitude. Jesus said, all of these things I do, you will do, and even more. But think about what that entails. You need fortitude to step up to that big assignment. The grace of counsel. He said to his disciples, you must love each other the way that I loved you. When we love as Christ, this is where we build up our own fortitude, and we make choices. We make the choices that honor the divine in ourselves and other people. The grace of knowledge. He said, I am ascending to my Father. Who is your Father? My Father sent me, and I now send you. Go do these works. All these things you will do. Then the grace of wisdom. He said, after I go, the Holy Spirit will come. The Holy Spirit will come after me and be within you. And any guidance, any direction that you need, the Holy Spirit is there to give you its wisdom. Now, our personal spirit, when we tap into this grace of wisdom, our personal spirit is in contact with the greater forces at work in our lives. Okay, the greater forces, they're at work in our lives if we let them be at work in our lives. They create a spiritual opening, so we are guided by wisdom instead of woe. Like, whoa, woe to me. Tomorrow is another day, I'll just try that. When we are guided by woe, we're focused on our problems. We're focused on conditions. We're focused on blaming something. We're focused on what's going to keep us stuck. Like, as long as we keep looking at it, it keeps us stuck. When we're focused on wisdom instead, we're given solutions. We're given ways to move forward. It's the bridge that takes us out across the water. And we're busy just walking on the bridge. We're not worried about the water below us. Wisdom gives us the capacity to recognize that the nature of life is expansion and forward motion. When we are embodying wisdom, we can recognize what is happening right now. We can accept this. Like, this is what's happening right now, like as an observation, right? So if you noticed, like, oh, my light bulb went out and I'm in the dark. Accepting that is the first step to changing your light bulb, right? It's like, oh, the light's out, so I will just put a new light in, right? If we're focused on woe and our light bulb goes out, oh, I'm in the dark. Light bulbs hate me. My house hates me. Why does this always happen to me? Like my friends, they're sitting at home right now and they're in a house well lit. Okay, that's what happens when we focus on woe. When we are listening to wisdom and acting on that wisdom, things in our life start moving faster. Like as we're acting from wisdom and we are lining up with the graces, our life can change for the better at the speed of light. At the speed of light. You know, when we are in woe, we may be looking out over that abyss and we're analyzing, okay, I have to jump across this, but look how wide it is and how scary it is. And it's like trying to jump across something in slow motion. When we're stuck in the problem, we think, okay, well, if I analyze this, maybe if I just go really slow. But when we come from wisdom and things move fast for us, boom, we just go over. We don't have to analyze it. Some things, some changes in our lives, they require the speed of light. They require the speed of light. You can't jump slow over an abyss. You just fall in. Okay, it requires speed. It requires speed. So wisdom is what helps us to go forward with this movement and expansion of life. Wisdom helps to minimize the bumps in the road. Not all this stuff is easy. We know that. We're troopers here, right? We go through it, but sometimes it hurts a little. Sometimes it hurts a little. Okay, but we get through it because we have wisdom. Wisdom moves us out of our human, logic, rational mind where we're constantly seeking justice and we want fairness and we want to know, well, why did this even have to happen, right? What does that do? It directs us right back into woe. With wisdom, it helps us keep our eye on the wonder that is God. That's what wisdom does. That's what all the graces do. They help us keep our eye, our focus on the wonder that is God. With wisdom, we are guided to do the next brightest thing in our life. You know, when we're aligned with Spirit, when we're aligned with all these graces, and we're calling the good forth through us, for us, as us, we're always moving into the next brightest version of ourselves. Like we're us, and then we're us 2.0, and then we're us 3.0, and then we're us 4.0. We keep on expanding ourselves through expanding our consciousness and our experiences. Right? Not the easy way, but that's what we have fortitude for. Right? We grow and we do what needs to be done. Wisdom is profound, but wisdom is also simple, and wisdom is ordinary. You know how it popped into my head, this has been a few weeks, but I just remember, initially I was going to say no, because it just was like a little thing that popped into my head, but it was like 4:30 in the afternoon, and I was feeling foggy, like I was just like, I didn't have mental clarity, but immediately was, walk outside in the sunshine, just go walk outside. And I was like, oh, it's getting late. I was going to say no to that. That's how easy it is to just say no. No, it's getting late. What's I going to do? I'll have to take the chihuahua with me. I don't know. Well, then I thought, oh, I'm doing that thing. I'm doing that. And so I got the chihuahua. We walked around outside. We didn't go really far, but I walked around, visited some of the neighbors, enjoyed the sun on my head. But the funny thing was, when I got back in the house, clear brain. Like it was totally clear. The fog had lifted. Otherwise, I would have just sat and vegged in front of Netflix. But instead, I got like another couple hours of like feeling really creative and fun. So wisdom is the simple, ordinary stuff. The simple, ordinary stuff. Don't eat that handful of nuts at bedtime, right? It's the simple stuff. And it's also profound, but it's ordinary. One of the ways that I've like called forth wisdom, because like wisdom is, I'm not thinking wisely from the space where I'm irritated. So if I find myself in a condition where I feel frustrated, where I feel annoyed, like I want the wisdom, so I open the way for it. How can I look at this situation differently? How could I see this situation differently? Okay, right now I'm annoyed. How could I see it differently? So I'm moving through by focusing on the wonders that are God. The Course in Miracles says every situation properly perceived becomes an opportunity to heal. Every situation. If we're seeing a situation through woe, we're in our shadow. We're in our shadow. And I mean whoa, like W-O-E, not like whoa. That was like whoa. Okay, I meant like whoa. But then we know that there's something that we can heal. And really, if all we ever have to say is, well, how can I see this differently? How can I see this differently? That's all we need. It helps us shift our perception so we're open. We're open. You know, we are divinely designed to be askers. We're askers. That's why we are told, ask and you'll receive. Ask and you'll receive. I know there's a lot in the spiritual community about set an intention, be really clear, tell the universe what you want. But I just can't say I've read that in old spiritual wisdom. Old spiritual wisdom says ask. And then we receive. We're given something that moves us forward. I know it does say, like, I guess it does say know something that you want. Ask for what you want, but we are designed to be askers. If we're in our shadow, ask. How could I see this differently? How could I see this differently? As we're perceiving the world, we're perceiving our lives through the spiritual lens, nothing ever looks ordinary again. Nothing ever looks ordinary again. Our problems, they're not insurmountable. They're not. When we ask and receive, we then use our inner resources with our external abilities, and it's how we make changes. Because something's working through us, those greater forces, that's what's working through us so we can make those changes. Right? Jesus said, I of myself, I did nothing. It's the Father within me. The I of myself, the just me, that's us probably maybe focused on a condition, focused on, well, that would be great if I could make that happen, but well, I don't know. Right? It's the Father within, the Spirit within, the indwelling Spirit. Right now, how could we use wisdom? So I'm going to run you through the 7 graces. Here's wisdom. First, reverence. See all of life as sacred. Devotion. I am committed to seeing all of life as sacred, and I will continue to practice seeing the wonders that are God everywhere. Understanding. And if all of life is sacred and everything is God, that means I am too. I am an expression of God. How will God express through me today? Fortitude. I was designed for this. I can do the things that feel hard and like I'd really rather not do and just stay in my easy old comfort zone, but I can do these things and keep moving forward. The grace of counsel. I surrender my will to divine will. I will choose to do the right thing. I will focus on love. I will focus on the good. I'll be courageous. I will be guided to solutions then. The grace of knowledge. And as I am of service, I am expressing my divinity through my choices and through my actions. And I receive divine instruction every time it's time for me to do that new thing. Then the grace of wisdom. My soul only intends my good. God only intends my good. It's the nature of the universe is expansion, and God the good can expand more good into any situation. God can expand the good into this situation, into that situation, or that situation, whatever situation. Then we're calling forth all these graces. We get to stop battling against the things we don't want, because that keeps us from being a soul with stamina. We focus on the wonder that is God. We say yes to our sacred assignment, because if it is our sacred assignment, we have everything we need to go forward with that sacred assignment. We bring more light into our lives, and things start changing at the speed of light when we're bringing light into our lives. So I have a call to action. Because I know that you're not here to sit and wait for stuff to happen. You're not. None of us are here to be sitters and waiters. You're here to call forth your soul into your life. You're here to bring forth your gifts. You're here to bring forth your divine nature into your life experience right here and now. So I'm going to ask you this week, this is what I'm going to do. And if you all want to do it too, it would just be fun, right? Because we're all focusing on the same thing. Let's look at the many ways wisdom presents itself in ordinary moments. Wisdom is not just for the insurmountable challenges. Wisdom is for the things that we face every day. Wisdom helps us through our health issues, through our financial issues, relationship issues. Career. Wisdom helps us in our career issues. So I'm thinking, whatever weird thing shows up for you this week, like whatever weird thing or uncomfortable thing, anything like that, what if we were just to ask, how could I see this a different way? How could I see this a different way? What would it take for me to allow wisdom to guide me through this? How will God express itself in this situation? How will God express itself through me having fortitude in this situation? Right? We just ask questions. We ask questions. I know for myself, I go to the unity principles. God is all things, and that means me. It's through trusting divine guidance, right thinking, and right action that we move forward. There's power in affirmative prayer. It's very important to line up with those greater forces that work through us. And talking about all this fun, amazing stuff is not enough. We must live it. Our unity path is not just inspirational, it is transformational if you'll let it be so. So I know you know somebody who maybe needs this message. Go home and share our newsletter. I would love that if you shared our newsletter or our YouTube page. So I'm not here to be a bystander. I just want to be a force for good. And I know that you guys all want to also. That's why we're here. We're here to get all the tools to be a force for good. Right? Bystanders do not create heaven on earth. Forces for good create heaven on earth. We are here to demonstrate that good. We are here to live this true. And that's how we create heaven on earth. So, until next time, remember, you are the activity of spirit in a body. You are the heart and the hands of spirit in this world. You are soul designed to do all of this stuff. You're soul designed for growth in goodness. In everything you do, you are blessed, and so it is.
Amen.
Great. Our youth band has a special song for you about releasing and letting go.